This is a Smith-Neilsen Standall Model 7 handsaw, sharpener, and grinder. If you've been following along with my last few videos, you'll know that I purchased a handsaw sharpening shop, the remains of a handsaw sharpening shop from a gentleman out in Byers, Colorado a few weeks ago. And this machine has already been purchased by Brian Noel up in Washington. He makes beautiful handsaws. His business is Bearcat Woodworking. And yeah, I have to get this guy shipped out. So I had been making some videos of the Acme, but it has not been sold yet. And I'm going on vacation next week, so I want to make sure that I get this guy documented well, find all the odds and ends that go with it, and make sure that the product that I am getting Brian is in running condition, or at least close. He's a smart guy and he'll dig into it himself to make sure that he can actually get it at a production level. But it's cool, and I wanted to take the opportunity to show it to you guys before I have to crate it up and shoot it off. So here's what I know, or at least what I think I know. This is a vise. It's great. It's a nice big long vise. Its release mechanism is right here, and it rolls via bearings along this upper and lower track. Behind it you have your ratchet bars, which are interchangeable, and this guy has a full set that comes with it. And this guy here is the indexing prong that goes along it. Right above that, this is where I believe you indicate what tooth count you're using. So this motor here controls this pulley, which is exclusively used for the grinder wheel itself. The secondary motor in the back here controls all the rest of the whirligig operations. So from this motor, you go to this pulley. This pulley is controlling this, which accentuates around, which has something to do with your tooth count. Your tooth count then rolls this, which actuates up to this wheel. That wheel controls your up and down movement of the grinding wheel itself. This side of the arbor of the pulley goes to two bevel gears. This back bevel gear runs this eccentric plate. That plate allows this arm to move back and forth. That arm moving back and forth controls this arm, which controls your fleam of your cut. So it comes around and drives this arm back and forth, which allows your grinding wheel to move back and forth, which controls, again, the fleam by cutting the back of the tooth. So the way that you control the bevel of the back of the tooth is by just lifting the whole machine. And there's an indexing arm here that allows you to go from 0 all the way to 21 degrees. It even has a -5 degree that you can lock it into place. So it's as simple as, like I said, just lifting it up and putting it into place where you want it, depending upon the tooth profile that you're going to go for. It comes with two original Vimco lights, which are really cool. The other one works. This one is a little janky. Let's see I don't know. I'll see if I can figure that guy out. It is not currently working. Put in one of these nice little shop LEDs in it, but it does not work. So everything that I've shown you up to this point are definitely the basics of the machine. There are quite a few more fine adjustments which I honestly have no idea or understanding as to what they do. One example would be this handle here turns. That turns a screw on this side, which is attached to this arm, and it lessens this degree, which is bolted. I don't know if you can even see this, but it's bolted to this bracket in the back. And the only thing that I see that it actually does is it moves this indicator mark from 0 to 5, 6, and 9. I have no idea what that's for. I also am unsure as to what this gauge does. It attaches to where the ratchet bar is, and it's currently set to what appears, the bolt appears to be kind of at an 8, and there is an 8 ratchet bar in there now. It looks like it counts up and counts down. So I'm not sure how that affects the machine's operation. I have no idea what this is for either. You can kind of open it up and close it. You can see some of the grinder marks have ground into it at one point, but again, I'm not sure what it does. There is another adjustment in the back here which comes up and attaches to this guy. There's a little lever there, and again there are some more indicator marks that I am focus. I'm unsure as to what those do or what that adjustment is going to do. I mean, I get that it's a stop, but I'm not sure what it's actually stopping it from. Also on the front of the vise, there's this attachment, which I believe is probably just some sort of actual attachment for another function that it has. It is designed to sharpen bandsaw blades and the like, and I don't know if it is something focused like that or if it is designed for some sort of planer grinder or something of that nature. It does have a little lock that you can put into place there. One of the other things that currently is eluding me is how the machine feeds the saw blade itself. So I know that this is the pawl for going on each tooth on the ratchet bar, but as you'll see when I turn the machine on, it is not feeding the vise the way that it should. I presume it has to do with the adjustments itself, because I don't see anything that is broken, but again, there is no documentation on this machine, and I just don't know how to run it. So we can just flip on the switch, and then when you're ready, So one of the challenges with this standoff is to be able to find which items actually go with this machine. So I'm trying to use a little bit of deductive reasoning. I know that this style ratchet bar, this double-sided style ratchet bar, is what goes with the standoff because it actually currently has one in it. Now, this style is only one-sided, but it is the same thickness as the Standall. Some of these are duplicates, but all of the other ratchet bars that I have a series of holes in them, which these do not. So I'm going to go ahead and presume that these go with the Standall. Now, some of these other items, based upon the serial numbers on them, or the sequence of serial numbers, so BSA, that one is a CSA, that fits with the style of serial number that goes with these. So CVA, TSA, followed by a number. All of the Foley bandsaw, all of the Foley bell saw stuff that I have does not have that similar style of serial number. This guy's kind of cool. Sears and Roebuck apparently sold replacement parts for the Standall, and he needed some replacement parts in 1977. So it's a cartridge seal kit. And it has some O-rings and things in there. And then this guy here says bandsaw attachment, which I'm guessing this is the bandsaw attachment. And some of these items are required for that. This guy was also in that box, so this looks like it's for some sort of actual circular style blade, but and then this arm, which I don't know what this guy does, but I'm going to shoot all this stuff off to Brian as well, because at a glance it does not appear to go with any of the bell saw Foley items. This guy here is another style of indexing. So I believe that this style replaces this one, which goes directly off the ratchet bar, and this one supposedly, to my understanding, will index off the saw blade itself. So this pawl lines up with the vise itself, and presumably that back bar attaches into something back there somewhere. The other sweet thing is that this gentleman was well prepared with wheels. So Brian should be good to go on official Standall wheels for quite some time. There are lots of them there, and based upon the look of it, the wheel that's on it has been pretty much used up, or well, comparatively, these are quite a bit bigger. Now this table is full of items that I don't know what they go with. So I'm going to scan over this table pretty slowly. Brian, if you see anything, or if anybody else sees anything that it just makes sense that it should go with that Standall machine, we can definitely check it out. So here are some pins. The only thing that is telling me that this probably doesn't go with the Standall is that plate that is in that box, which is, you know, kind of the green that would go with the bell saw stuff. Same thing here. This chain mechanism also has that green. These two items were taped together, and these plates have that same bell saw green, bell saw Foley green. But this, which I'm not sure what this is, makes me think that based upon these indexing marks here, these look like similar indexing marks that are on the standall. So I don't know if these were erroneously taped together and this goes with one machine and this goes with another machine. I don't see anywhere that this would bolt in, using those bolt holes. I'm not sure. Thoughts, ideas, welcome. This is another unit which looks nearly exactly the same. I mean, it's a little different, but it's very similar to what this item is over here. So if you guys know what those are, let me know. These, I presume, go with the filer jointer, the Foley filer jointer. Again, I'm going off this just surely based upon the color of the items. So some of these items have writing on them. Crown, straight. Again, not really sure what those go to. These are the other style, and they're also double-sided. Like I said, they have a lot of holes in them. They are quite a bit thicker and will not fit into the stand-all machine, so I'm presuming that these are going to work with the ball saw Foley somehow. And then these, I believe, are the fairly standard bell saw Foley ratchet bars. This guy is the only one that I have in this style. I don't presume this gentleman exclusively used his multiple bell saw Foley machines with just one ratchet bar, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that these attach to that somehow. And then we've got this Acme knife grinder. I don't see a way that this actually would attach to the Acme handsaw filer. So I'm not sure what this would have originally gone with. But yeah, this stuff is a little confusing to me. I don't know what it does. I don't know what it goes with. If you know, let me know, because I don't want to crate this machine up, send it off to Brian to find out that he's missing some of these long parts that need to be shipped separately. So I was able to take apart that lamp. Just popped off the cap there. You can see that the push button has actually just broken off and you can't push it regardless whether you want to or not. Thankfully, my local Ace Hardware carries these replacement internals. So I'm going to just unscrew this old one, put the new one in place, hopefully have a functioning lamp here in just a minute. New one is installed. Just like downtown. Okay, so after a bit more poking around on this standall, I think that I figured out a couple other little things, though it's pretty incomplete information. So for one, this guy here, fairly certain that it's designed to be able to lift up like this. And this bar at which point this bar just curves up and locks it into place. So not sure again as to what the grand point of that is, but fairly certain that that's the way that's supposed to work. The other cool thing that I discovered when doing that is, look how cool this is. So in the casting on the vise itself, the Standall Model 7 that they built right into it. I don't know what this attachment is, but it takes away some of the aesthetic coolness of that vise itself. The other discovery that I made was earlier when I was talking about that crank and not knowing what it did. If you and what these numbers represented. If you go up, that top bar is actually split. So I believe these are degrees. So as you crank the handle, your top bar actually has a pinnacle to it right here. I'm not sure exactly the point of that. Maybe if you're looking to actually have a crowned top to a saw, maybe like one of the old timber saws. I'm not sure, but kind of a cool option regardless. And while I'm at it, I'm fairly certain that this is a function of the bandsaw, mainly because of that groove right there. So how I assume this works, and strictly an assumption here, these pins will just clamp on to this bar in some fashion, or the top bar in some fashion. And I believe that this guy here acts similarly. So that is likely going to clamp onto the top or bottom. The wheels run on a track which may or may not connect to this in some fashion, which may be what these indicating marks are designed, it's designed purpose for. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that your bandsaw blade rides on this wheel. Maybe. Now that we have a functioning light on the standoff, you're able to get a better look at how those ratchet bars are held into place. It's just a friction fit between these clips. So if you go down to that end, lift up on it, it pops right up out of place. And the vise itself also very simply just picks right up off of those bars. It just rides along the bars. So that will make it nice for shipping. To crate this guy up, I'm actually just going to unbolt this whole fence system and affix it upright to save quite a bit of space on the footprint of this machine. Go tall, not wide.